Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Lance Robbins with iTooth Family Dentistry. Welcome to another episode of Fireplace Fridays. I want to give a quick thank you to Dave Beebe with Stone Ridge Flooring Design for giving me the motivation to get out of bed this morning to get to CrossFit Springfield. I ran into him yesterday and he said, "You better be there." And I made it. This is part 2 of You Deserve a Digital Experience. You may have heard the term same-day dentistry or one-visit dentist. So what does that mean? It means you can have your crown, bridge, smile makeover, even implants done in one visit. Today I want to talk about the CEREC machine and how we use it here at iTooth. We use it as an intraoral camera for photos of your teeth. It can even capture video, but its main purpose is as a scanner to create 3D digital impressions of your teeth, your arch, and your bite for inlays, onlays, crowns, bridges, and designing surgical guides for implant placement. I'm going to concentrate on single restoration cases that we've done and how we complete those on a daily basis so that you can walk out the door in less than 2 hours and have your work completed. You don't have to wait 3 weeks to get your crown or bridge and wear a temporary that may come off numerous times and suffering through a gagging, slobbering impression because it was sent to the lab. Some of the benefits are you only have to have injections once. And we can be much more conservative with our restorations, meaning we don't have to take as much tooth structure oftentimes, and we can seat that crown or bridge shortly after we prepare the tooth. It also means less time in the dental chair. The time is important to us, and once we lose it, we can never get it back. So time away from work is costly. We want to complete your treatment in as few visits as possible, and with the CEREC machine, we can do that in a single visit. I've been asked, are these as good as lab crowns? And the answer is better. The material is the same as the lab uses, and the margins are twice as good. Now, don't quote me on these numbers exactly, but the typical impression, the margin error is about 0.4 millimeters, as there is shrinkage and expansion of the impression material and the stone that it is fabricated from. That means that where the crown meets the tooth, there is almost 0.5 millimeter of error or gap. With the digital impression from the CEREC machine, the gap is 0.2 millimeters. Now you tell me which one you want. So let's see what the CEREC machine can do. This patient had old filling, recurrent decay, some extensive decay on the cheek side, and we lost the cheek side cusps. You can see when this was diagnosed that there was not a tooth behind it. So this is excellent for young kids that have extensive decay, teeth are still erupting, still have good tooth structure. It's great for adults too because we still can maintain that good tooth structure that'll help them function more efficiently. After we removed all of the decay here and put the margins on here, we scan the tooth and part of the arch. We get the opposing arch and we get a bite scan. You can see where the prep is here. And we draw margins with the software so it knows where to begin to fabricate this onlay. It then gives us a proposal. We adjust the bite and we can look at it without the teeth in place. And we can look at the contacts here, both sides. And this is the mill proposal. It goes to the mill and is fabricated here with its sprue that's cut off and then put in place. This is the x-ray before we seated it. You can see the nice margins. You can tell this is before it was seated because there's no cement in here yet. And that's a nice result. Kept a lot of good tooth structure for the patient to chew with naturally. Here's another case, a lot of cheek side decay. This is where we were at when we got done removing all of that. The opposing arch, the bite, put our margins on the tooth. Here's the proposal from the CEREC machine. Adjust the bite, adjust the contacts, send it to the mill for milling. And here's the pre-seat x-ray. Nice margins coming off of there, meets the tooth nicely. Another case, old filling, recurrent cavity. This is the amount of tooth structure that we had to take because of the cavity. Opposing arch,
bite. Here's where we draw the margins. The proposal, adjust our bite, send it to the mill. This tooth had a root canal, and you can see where we replaced missing tooth structure with composite or filling material or build-up material. Prepped the tooth for the crown. Here's the scan, posing and the bite, and drew our margins. That's the initial proposal. Adjust our bite, check the contacts with the teeth on either side, send it to the mill. This one had a lot of cheek side cavity, and the argument could be made that an onlay might have been the option here, and I would probably agree. But here's the initial prep and what it looks like when a tooth is prepped for a crown. This is a different case, but you can see the scan, the posing, the bite, the margins that were drawn, the proposal, and the mill. This is an interesting case, and one of the reasons I love the CEREC machine. This patient had an onlay prepped, and it was sent to the lab. So a temporary was put on this tooth, but during the 3 weeks that it was at the lab, the tooth behind it moved into place, making this a very tough margin to finish. And when we checked the onlay prior to seating, you could see that it's got a short margin. So this was put in place. Patient came back. We did this with the CEREC machine. This is before the final prep, as there's still a little cavity here. But you can see how we've kind of prepped this. This margin was dropped a little bit more. And here is the x-ray of that tooth. You can see nice, good margin, good contact, and that's final restoration. I want to show you this case because this is the tongue side cusp that was fractured on this patient, and this is all natural tooth structure. But when we zoom in and look at it cemented, you can't see where the margins begin and where they end. This is all natural tooth. This is the onlay. Very good result. I want to show you some margins of some teeth that we've done in the past. You can see how this emerges right off of the tooth the way it's supposed to. Same here. As you can see, there's no cement here. These are pre-seat x-rays just checking the fit of these crowns. Same here. Nice margin. Comes right off the tooth like it's supposed to. Makes it look very natural. Same here and here. Again, nice margins. You can see the margin here and you can see the margin here. That means that one, as the tooth goes from cheek side to tongue side, one margin is higher than the other. So a rise and fall there. You can see that a little bit here as well, but again, nice margins. And here's one with good margins, and you can see the cement in between here, how that looks. But I want to show you what we're trying to avoid with the CEREC machine. This is a porcelain fused to metal crown that was sent to a lab. When it came back and seated, it was short, or has a short margin. You can see this opening here, this V shape. This point right here should really be right here, and this point here should be flush with the tooth like our other margins. This was either not seated all the way, as evidenced by the lack of porcelain on the top here, or the die was trimmed short and it was fabricated short. This should have never been seated this way. It wasn't done by us, but this is what we're trying to avoid with CEREC dentistry and same-day dentistry.
Well, I hope this information helped. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for part 3 next week when we talk about the CEREC machine and smile makeovers and how we do those in one visit. Have a great Memorial Day, and thanks for watching.